17, 18.
Meantime, should children's clothing be gender neutral? Retailer John Lewis thinks so. The department chain has become the first in the country to do away with boys and girls labels in clothes for under 14s. The store has also scrapped separate male and female sections in what they say is a bid to stop reinforcing gender stereotypes. But will it work? Joining us to discuss this is Caroline Farrow. She is a writer for The Conservative Woman and freelance writer Alex O'Neill. Hello to you ladies both. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Caroline, to you, first of all, if I may. Clothing disparity, what sort of message was it sending previously and what sort of message is John Lewis sending now?
I think it's sending a very unpleasant and almost, it's underpinning an evil ideology. And this is the idea that boys and girls are interchangeable, that it doesn't matter what a boy wears, what a girl wears, they're all the same, we're all some amorphous mass. And actually that's a really confusing and harmful message to send to children. I don't see what the problem is with if girls want to wear a more diverse range of clothing, then put some dinosaurs on a dress, put some planets on a t-shirt, you know, issue some dungarees, absolutely fine. But actually for parents, you know, we don't want to be picking through one giant blob of children's clothing in the same way that as an adult, you're not going to mix in men's and women's clothing together and just call it adult. You know, can you imagine if you did that with underwear or lingerie, for example? You know, nobody wants to be picking through the men's Y fronts and the boxers when you're trying to, you know, choose your own underwear. But actually it's saying to children that boys and girls are the same, and that is just simply not true. That's a scientific...
OK, let's see what Alex has to say. She's shaking her head.
No, I'm sorry, I completely disagree. I think this is a very progressive move by John Lewis, and I'd love to see more retailers follow suit. And the fact is that there isn't a difference between boys and girls. And this isn't about pandering to the PC brigade. It's not about creating a world without gender. I don't think we're going to see little boys up and down the country running about in pink dresses. It's about giving the very important message from a young age that boys and girls are equal, that they can do anything that they want to do, that gender doesn't limit them. And for many years, we have, as a society, perpetuated these very harmful gender stereotypes that say that boys can do things that girls can't do, or that boys need to be tough guys, and that, you know, girls have to be more demonstrative and emotional. And that's not true. In fact, that there's very little difference in boys and girls' brains. Yeah,
I mean, Caroline, isn't that a fair point? Where does this end? Surely boys and girls should be treated equally. I have an acquaintance who educates his son privately, and he doesn't educate his daughters privately. That's surely not acceptable.
That's just anecdotal evidence, though. And I think when you look
it's a fact.
Yeah, sure, but just because your friend doesn't necessarily treat his sons and his daughters equally, it doesn't actually pan out to the rest of the population. I mean, one of the things we do know, if we're talking about equal treatment and equal performance of boys and girls, is that 2 years ago, a Save the Children study showed that girls were twice as likely as boys in every single local authority across the land. So 152 local authorities showed that girls were twice as ready as boys to start school at age 5. Twice as many boys as girls had the right reading, writing, literacy, and all the other skills that are required. What we do know is that boys are being failed at the moment in education, and that there isn't this great gender gap. And I don't think that clothing, you know, if a girl wants to wear particularly stereotypical clothing, she wants to wear glittery unicorns and a tutu, that doesn't mean that she's not going to end up as strong, independent, critically minded, you know, woman. It's just girls are expressing themselves. Girls like to be girls, boys like to be boys. Now, if girls want to wear dinosaurs, trucks, you know, space rockets, that's great, that's fine. You know, I've got four girls and a boy, sorry. And, you know, a lot of my daughters like to wear dungarees and boyish things, but actually putting a boy in a dress is not going to help him. And I think there's a really important point here about feminisation, over-feminisation of boys going on. And I think saying that boys and girls are the same is harmful. It's a harmful message for children. And
let's see what Alex has to say about that. Feminisation of boys, Alex?
I would have to say there's very compelling evidence to suggest that there is no difference between boys and girls' brains. Our brains are actually shaped by our physical, cultural and social environments. So it's not a case of girls are naturally drawn to pink and little boys just want to play with Lego and dinosaurs. It's we're perpetuating these stereotypes by giving them gender-specific toys, by dressing them in pink or dressing them in blue. So boys aren't naturally drawn to one specific area and girls another. That's simply not true. That's a fact. So, and it is harmful. If you look at the Gap ad last year, the company came under a huge amount of criticism because they had T-shirts with a picture of Albert Einstein on the T-shirt for the boys, and they said, "Little scholar, be whoever you want to be." And for the girls, it was "Social butterfly, be the talk of the playground." Now, if that's not harmful, I don't know what is, because that's limiting girls' ambitions.
Yeah, Caroline,
so it's
future football. Okay, Caroline, future footballer's wife was a baseball cap from the National Trust. Ponies rock for girls, future scientist on boys' T-shirts. That can't be right, surely.
Well, these things are very much driven by market forces. Now, personally, I'm not one for slogans on T-shirts or whatever. But actually, when you look at what the shops are producing, it's actually, you know, driven by consumer demand. And it's actually bullying to tell shops what they can and can't produce. It should be driven by market demand. You know, and this point about boys and girls, what they prefer being culturally driven, I can tell you, I've got 4 girls and a boy, and all of my girls are completely different in terms of what cars, you know, toys they like. One of them really wanted a Scare Electrics for her birthday, so that's what she's got. The other one is really into princesses, Wendy houses, you know, and my son has the full gamut of toys, and I don't care what he plays with, you know.
We're almost out of time,
and he
so Alex, okay, sorry, we're almost out of time. 30 seconds to our fair, Alex. You can finish off.
Listen, I just think it's if your boys want to play with cars and trucks, that's great. And if the girls want to dress in pink, fantastic. But equally, if a boy wants to wear a dress, I mean, I'm going to be a mum for the first time in December, and if my little boy comes to me and says, "I want to wear a dress," why not? Let them be whoever they want to be. I don't think that we should impose gender stereotypes on our kids. I think it's harmful, and it's ultimately limiting.
Ladies, we're out of time. Good to talk to both of you. Thank you very much indeed. Still to come, enough is enough. The US accuses Kim Jong-un of begging for war. Stay tuned.